Like the White House, it had gone to war with Fannie Mae linking demanding information to the press and actively seeking to embarrass the Jesus. To put it bluntly, it was out to get Fannie, which is precisely what the Hot Inspector General wrote in his report. The Inspector General's report was supposed to be confidential, but Fanny had a long history of strategic leaks itself. Sure enough, just before a jury hearing, it managed to get the hot report into the hands of members of Congress. Not surprisingly, when the hearing began, the committee members went after Opium and Falcon instead of Brainies. This hearing is about the politician lynching of Franklin Raines, said Congressman Will Lacy Clay, an African American Democrat from Missouri. Is it possible that by casting all of these aspersions, you potentially are weakening this institution in the market, that you are potentially weakening the housing market in this country? Chimed in Congressman Hunter Davis, Democrat of Alabama. In responding to the opium, Congress Raines was unpolitic. Their accounting standards are highly complex and require determination of which experiments offer disagree. A congressional aide would later say, I have never seen anyone treated as disrespectfully as Armando Falcon was by the Democrats and Franklin Raines. Raines, however, had overplayed his hand in demanding that the SEC looked at Fannie's account. He assumed it would side with the company rather than its regulators, but he had concluded wrong on December at a meeting that included Raines Falcon and Justin Department's official SEC chief account, Donald Nicolason, announced that Franny Mae's accounting did not comply in material respect to the accounting rules. Raines was flamming him. What didn't we get wrong? He asked, his voice wavering. Nicolason held up a sheet of paper. If the four corners represented what was possible under GAAP accounting rules and the center was perfect compliance, he told Raines, you weren't even on the page. Fannie's representatives tried to urge that if they couldn't get it right, no one could. Nicolason wasn't having it. Many, many companies out there get it right, he said. The restatement was astounding. Ophio alleged that Fannie Mae had overstated its earnings by $9 billion, since representing a staggering 40% of its profits. Ultimately, Fannie restated its earnings by a mere $6.3 billion. Ophio also reported that Raines had been paid $90 million between um, 52 million dollars, of which was directly tied to Fannie meeting in earnings targets. Raines had his number two CFO, Tim Howard, were forced to step down. Fannie agreed to pay a civil penalty to the SEC and $50 million to the Treasurer. As part of a consent decree with Ophio, Fannie agreed to toll 30% additional capital and stop growing the portfolio. Freddie agreed to the same measure. There are many many executives, including Raines and Howard, who will go to their graves believing that the entire scandal was drummed up by Ophio and the White House solely to bring Fanny down. In August, the Justice Department took the rare step of publicly announcing that it was dropping its investigation into Fannie Mae's accounting. No criminal charge were ever filed. For that matter, the SEC never filed civil charge against any individual either, and an investigation by the law firm Paul Weiss exonerated Raines of any wrongdoing, while Ophio settled with Raines and Howard. It did so on terms that can only be described as incredibly generous. The bulk of Rainey's settlement, some $25 million, come from stock options he had received that were so out of the money they likely never be worth anything anyway. Raines today described the accounting scam as a dispute among accountants. The company outside accountants had agreed with its original interpretation of GAAP. Derivatives accounting is incredibly complex, and the line between sloppy aggressiveness and fraud is often difficult to discern. The fact that the SEC, which had no dog in the fight, agreed with Ophio suggests that the scam was real. The fact that the Justice Department declined to prosecute suggests that maybe it wasn't.